Today, Netflix is worth more than $250 billion. Yeah, you read that right. More than the entire economy of Costa Rica. But there was a day when they could have been bought for just $50 million, and they got laughed out of the room. Seriously. In all of the United States, only one Blockbuster is still open, in Bend, Oregon, as a museum of nostalgia. This is the story of the worst business decision of the 21st century, and the sweetest revenge in tech history. Hold on tight, because I'm about to tell you how arrogance killed an empire of 9,000 stores. The 80s. VHS was conquering American living rooms, and renting movies was the Friday night plan. But video stores were a hot mess. Few copies, missing movies, clerks who didn't know anything. Then comes along a Texan named David Cook, programmer, entrepreneur, and packing a brilliant idea. Cook thought, what if I make a giant store with thousands of movies and a computerized system? Boom. October 19th, 1985. The first Blockbuster opens in Dallas, Texas. 8,000 movies in stock, computerized catalog. It was like walking into Disneyland, but for cinema. The idea was so good that in less than a year, they opened 17 more stores. Pure adrenaline. But Cook needed cash to grow fast. Enter a billionaire named Wayne Huizenga. Huizenga buys Blockbuster in 1987, and the brutal expansion begins. Strategy? Buy the competition or crush it. A new Blockbuster store opened every 17 hours. 1994, Viacom buys Blockbuster for $8.4 billion. Every Friday night, American families made the holy pilgrimage to Blockbuster. It was sacred ritual, and they all lived the same tragedy. Someone already took the movie you wanted. You'd cry in the comedy aisle. But the real business wasn't the rentals. The real gold came from late fees. $800 million a year just in late fees, 20% of all their profit. Forgot to return Titanic on time? There goes your paycheck, buddy. The machine never slept. By 1994, Blockbuster had 3,800 stores worldwide. They made it to Mexico, too, remember? There was one in every mall. It was the plan after the movies. Act 2 popcorn, overpriced candy. They even sold Nintendos and plushies. They sold everything. Their CEO, John Antioco, arrives in 1997. He comes in with maximum confidence. Antioco was the guy. He had saved Taco Bell and 7-Eleven. Wall Street worshipped him. His salary? $51 million a year. Yeah, you read that right. 51. Blockbuster was so powerful, it decided what movies even existed. If they didn't rent it, it flopped. 1999, the DVD arrives. Smaller, cheaper, no more rewinding. The DVD would change everything. But Blockbuster was too busy counting cash to notice. Meanwhile, in California, two dudes were about to change history forever. Reed Hastings, programmer, and Mark Randolph, two friends carpooling to work. One day, Reed forgot to return Apollo 13 to Blockbuster, and they charged him $40. $40! Reed said in an interview, "I was so angry I hid the bill from my wife." Real story. On his way to the gym, the light bulb went off. What if I could rent movies and never have to return them on time? August 29th, 1997. Netflix is born in Scotts Valley, California. Initial idea, ship DVDs by mail in red envelopes. No stores, no late fees, no drama. But nobody knew if a DVD could survive the postal service. They ran a historic test. They bought a used Patsy Cline CD and mailed it to Reed's house. It arrived intact the next day. Boom. April 14th, 1998, Netflix.com goes live. 30 employees, that's it. Original model, pay per DVD rented plus shipping. They almost went broke in 6 months. It wasn't working. September 1999, they reinvent everything. Monthly subscription, no late fees. Revolution. $15 a month. All the movies you want, zero late fees. It was almost too good to be true. Customers started flooding in like an avalanche. Netflix grew from 0 to 300,000 subscribers crazy fast. But they were still a mosquito compared to Blockbuster. They needed capital, or they were going to die. The year 2000 arrives. The dot-com bubble explodes. Tech stocks turn into dust. Netflix was going broke. They were losing $57 million a year. The situation was rough. Hastings and Randolph made a desperate decision. They got on a plane to Dallas. Oh no. They were going to offer Netflix to Blockbuster. They wanted to sell for $50 million. They thought Blockbuster has money, stores, and a brand. We have the technology. Perfect combo. September 2000. They arrive at Blockbuster headquarters in Dallas, sweating bullets. John Antioco welcomes them in his executive office. Air conditioning, awards on the wall, pure big boss vibes. Reed presents his pitch. Partnership, acquisition, whatever. Netflix can be your digital arm. While Reed is talking, the Blockbuster executives start holding back laughter. No way. They ask for $50 million. Antioco burst out laughing, a ridiculous little number according to him. Antioco humiliates them. Our niche is tiny. Your little idea is going nowhere. Goodbye, boys. Hastings walks out humiliated. Mark Randolph would remember that meeting for the rest of his life. But Reed had a plan. They flew back to California and swore one thing. Never again would they ask anyone for permission. They were going to crush Blockbuster. 2002, Netflix goes public, shares at $15 each. People said it was a bubble. Meanwhile, Antioco thought he was winning. He announces Blockbuster will have its own online service. Blockbuster Online launches in 2004, 4 years late and poorly executed. But they spent about $3 billion on it.
2005, Blockbuster announces, we're eliminating late fees. The public applauds. Wall Street goes wild. There was just one tiny detail. It was a lie. If you returned it late, they charged you full price for the movie. Sneaky scam. 47 states sued them for false advertising. A $630 million fine. Ouch. Antioco lost $100 million in bonuses over this disaster, and the internal wars began. Enter Carl Icahn, corporate shark, buys enough shares to take over the board. Icahn hated Antioco. He blamed him for the late fee disaster, treated him like his personal punching bag. Antioco resigns in 2007. He gets $84 million in severance. Exits with cash. Jim Keyes arrives as the new CEO. 7-Eleven guy. He had no idea about the business, and he was about to prove it. Meanwhile, 2007, Reed Hastings makes the announcement that changes the industry forever. Netflix launches streaming. Movies over the internet, no DVDs, no envelopes, no waiting. That was the future. Jim Keyes responds like Tarzan. The internet isn't the problem. People want the physical experience. Right. He decides to focus on the brick-and-mortar stores, removes the kiosks, sells more candy. Brilliant strategy, Jim. While Blockbuster sold Bemmys, Netflix was signing contracts with Disney, Sony, Warner. Unstoppable. 2008, Netflix had 8 million subscribers. Blockbuster was losing 300,000 customers a month. Blockbuster's stock was worth only 25 cents. Their market cap shrunk to 1% of the original. They started closing stores, 1,000 in 2008, another 1,000 in 2009, an empire in collapse. September 23, 2010, Blockbuster files for bankruptcy, $1 billion in debt. Dish Network buys them in 2011 for $320 million, a bargain, but it was already a corpse. While Blockbuster was dying, Netflix produced House of Cards in 2013, first original streaming series. Netflix became a content producer. Stranger Things, The Crown, Squid Game. Everyone knows who's running things. November 2013, the last Blockbuster corporation in the United States closes. End of the empire. But some franchises held on. One in Alaska, one in Texas, another in Bend, Oregon. The last survivor. Today, only the one in Bend, Oregon remains. The manager, Sandy Harding, keeps it alive against all odds. It became a tourist attraction. They even made a Netflix documentary about it. Yeah, the irony is delicious. Reed Hastings publicly said, if Blockbuster had said yes in 2000, Netflix wouldn't exist today. Mark Randolph said in his book, our greatest enemy was our best teacher. Absolute philosopher. John Antioco lives comfortably, 76 years old, no interviews. Better that way, why come back to the embarrassment? Netflix launches streaming in Mexico in 2011, and that's when you learn the name, right? You got hooked. Today, Netflix has nearly 300 million subscribers worldwide, like 3 entire Mexicos, no joke. They've won over 100 Emmys. They revolutionized television. They changed the verb. Now it's Netflix and chill. Netflix spends $17 billion a year producing content, more than the GDP of several entire countries, while we millennials go to bed binging series after series, no late fee.
Read 1. Lessons from this story. Arrogance is corporate cancer number 1. Underestimating the little guy will kill you. Blockbuster had the brand, the stores, the money, the connections, and still won the grand prize, disappearing. Netflix was the kid nobody took seriously. Today, it's the king of Hollywood. Revenge is sweet. If this reminds you of any company today ignoring AI or something new, pay attention. History rhymes. The story of Blockbuster is a reminder, in technology, those who don't reinvent themselves die. Period. If you're into these kinds of stories, subscribe to the channel. At Bite and Back, we tell you how technology changes worlds. Tell us in the comments, do you have any Blockbuster memories? See you in the next video. Goodbye!